Hello, and welcome to Building a Ransomware Defense in the New Era. Today's webinar is sponsored by Cohesity and Nutanix and produced by Actual Tech Media. My name is Scott Becker. I'm from Actual Tech Media, and I will be your moderator for this special event. Now, before we get to today's great content, we do have a few housekeeping items that will help you get the most out of this informative session. First off, we want this to be a really useful event for you, so we encourage any questions in the questions box in our webinar control panel. Not only will we have team members responding to questions during the live event, we'll also have a dedicated Q&A session at the end of the presentation where we'll discuss in greater detail some of the top questions that you ask. The Q&A panel is also the place to let us know about any technical issues that you might be experiencing. A browser refresh will fix most audio, video, or slide advancement issues, but if that doesn't work, just let us know in the Q&A and we'll provide further technical assistance. Second, in the handout section of your webinar control panel, you'll find that we're offering several resources, and I'd especially like to call your attention to two PDFs. There's a tip sheet with 5 ways next-gen data management boosts cyber resiliency, and a solution brief for simplified backup and recovery. Those also include a link to the Gorilla Guide Book Club, where you can get access to Actual Tech Media's great printed resources on technology topics, as well as a link to the ATM Events Center, which has our calendar of upcoming events. So I encourage you to access those resources now and share them with your friends and colleagues. Again, those are in the Handouts tab, and you can access them throughout the event today. Third, at the end of this webinar event, we will be awarding a $300 Amazon gift card to one lucky registrant. Of course, you must be in attendance during the live event to qualify for that prize. The official terms and conditions of today's prize drawing can be found in the handout section. Just scroll to the bottom and you'll find the prize terms and conditions link there. Finally, one of the best benefits of this event is the opportunity to ask a question of our expert presenters. So to help encourage your questions, we have a special additional prize for you. That's another Amazon gift card, this one for $50 for the best question. At the end of the event, we'll look at all the questions, pick out the very best one, and contact that prize winner. With that, let's get to today's fantastic content. So it is my pleasure to introduce you to our speakers today. We have Gautam, who is Director of Product Management for Cohesity, and we're also joined by Amy, who's Senior Global Alliance Manager for Nutanix. So Gautam and Amy, welcome. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having us, Scott.
Thanks for having us.
Well, Amy, I will turn things over to you to get us started. I'm really looking forward to it.
Awesome. Thanks. Yeah, thanks everybody for being here. We're super excited to have you. And I'm really excited to be joined by Gautam. We have a fantastic partnership with Cohesity to help our Nutanix customers protect their data. And we're going to talk about ransomware today specifically. Before we get deep into the ransomware discussion, I just wanted to give everybody just a brief overview of Nutanix, just in case you're not familiar with who we are or what we do. So Nutanix was formed in 2009 by a couple of web scale engineers from some of the big famous hyperscalers that you guys probably all know and love, with the goal of solving IT complexity. So they saw a big problem in IT, how people were hosting their applications, and they set about to fix that. The way that they did that is they took the picture on the left here, which is, your traditional legacy IT infrastructure. It's your compute, switching and server layer and storage layer, all with different administrators, all with different support contracts, all with different user interfaces. And then, when we started virtualizing those applications, add on that additional layer and then add on your app stack. So what Nutanix founders set out to do is to shrink all of these down into super simple to scale out nodes, which is the picture that you will see here on the right, and add in your virtualization layer. All of the Nutanix nodes come with our hypervisor bundled in, which is called AHV, which we'll get into a little bit later. And you can still use ESXi if that is your hypervisor of choice. Nutanix is really big on choice, but all of our nodes do come with the hypervisor bundled in, so there is no need to pay that additional fee for a hypervisor. What this does is it frees up all of your engineers' time to focus on the app stack, which is really where we all know we make our money and where we should be focusing 80% of our time. So Nutanix powers all workloads and all use cases. I hate to read off a slide, but this one is pretty self-explanatory. So there really isn't an application that can't be virtualized that doesn't run on Nutanix. So for all of our VMware fans out there, just know that there isn't a business critical use case that can't run on Nutanix. We really pride ourselves on being a super flexible and super applicable platform for all of our customers today. I'm going to go ahead and skip past this one because I can't really see it in this little window here. So in addition to solving IT complexity, another goal that Nutanix wanted to solve was the TCO and ROI question. So we noticed that our customers were spending a ton of money on support contracts, on different administrators, on, just a lot of colo space, a lot of electricity. So we challenge all of our customers who are using a competitive product to put us to the Pepsi challenge. Let us do a TCO study for you. So we don't just say, we save you a bunch of time, money, and cycles on complexity. We actually can prove it. So we've got finance staff on staff that are ready to go ahead and show you, over 5, 7, 10 years what the total cost of ownership for Nutanix will look like. Nutanix has a 90 plus NPS score. So for those of you who don't know what that is, it's basically a Bain Capital initiative that is a peer-reviewed interview. So if your peers would recommend you, they say yes or no. You get a binary score that ranges from plus 100 to negative 100. Most of your cable providers and cell phone providers will be deep into the negatives. If anybody has ever had to sit on hold with AT&T, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But Nutanix prides ourselves on our customer service. So we have follow the sun support. As you can see where the stars are and where the little blue dots are is where our support engineers are located across the globe. So if you call from Amsterdam, you're going to get support in your time zone who speaks your language. Our engineers are not metriced on how quickly they solve your issue, but how well they solve your issue. So you'll see that we really pride ourselves on making sure that our customers are satisfied. And with that, I want to dig deeper into why we partnered with Cohesity. So Nutanix is a Gartner industry leader. We have been for the past 7 years. Cohesity is as well. So we saw an opportunity to partner with an industry leader and make sure that not only are we providing best-in-class infrastructure, both on-prem and in the cloud, but we need to make sure that our customers can protect those workloads and protect that data, which is why we brought in Cohesity and why my friend Gautam is here with me today to discuss how the two platforms can help you protect your data against ransomware. Gautam, I will hand it off to you.
All right. Thanks, Amy. Hi, everyone. My name is Gautam Bhasin, and I'm part of the product management team at Cohesity. It's my pleasure to be here with Nutanix and talk about ransomware defense in the new era during these challenging times. So we'll be looking at some of the trends in ransomware, what our customers have shared with us, some of our pillars of innovation, architectural advantages that help us provide ransomware protection. We'll talk about, Nutanix and Cohesity integration and some of the best practices. But first, here is a forward-looking statement with a disclaimer. I will pause for a few seconds for our audience to read it. All right. So I'll just go ahead and build this one up. Amy, as you know, and to our audience, ransomware isn't going anywhere. And you can't go a day without reading about a major ransomware attack somewhere in the world. It's all over in the news. It's such a threat to business and overall our economy. And that's why we are here, right? So admins are losing their sleep over it. If you look at some of the stats that we have, cyber attacks have increased over time. And there is an attack probably happening now when we are delivering this content because there's an attack every 11 seconds, for example. Longer recovery times. I mean, what if there's an attack? What happens? There are longer recovery times. There's an impact, for time to recover, discovering what has been impacted, trying to figure out. And admins they're not able to sleep comfortably at night, thinking about all of this if they don't have a plan in place. Now, getting the data back is becoming expensive as ID is spending a lot of time to configure and manage these infrastructures. So they are, somehow related to all these attacks are somehow related to threat of exploitation. So when we talk about threat of exploitation, let me quickly, go through some of the numbers. Now, here are some of the numbers that we have, which talk about, the breaches that happened over time. Now, did you know that in past couple of years, 81% of ransomware attack included the threat of exploitation? While other cyber criminals were encrypting data, 81% of those attacks included cyber criminals who had claimed to have accessed the data and threatened to expose it, the organizational data on the dark web or somewhere on the internet. What's concerning is that 2/3 of these organizations ended up paying for ransom, and just to make sure that their data is not published online. And what's also interesting is that the data breach has been around for a long time due to human errors like devices lost to cyber activities and insider threats and so on. So the amount of ransomware demands attached to data breaches has just doubled in the same period, and the cost of the data breach is very high. I mean, we are not talking about probably a couple of $100,000. We're talking in millions. And from a high-level view, from a high-level vantage point, or when you look at the overall picture, there's not only the initial damage done when the data was stolen, but it is also the collateral damage, the loss of trust with your customers, with your partners, with employees, having a hole in the encryption wall, the downtime, and overall the tarnish business reputation that's there.
Thanks, Gautam. I have a question. In your experience, how have you seen these increased threats and the threat of exploitation change behaviors in the marketplace?
That's a great point, and thanks for leading with that, because the hackers or the people who are behind ransomware attacks are also getting very intelligent and very motivated. So as we have seen that over the years, when we look at time, right, the blast radius has increased. Initially, probably a decade back, whenever there was a ransomware, if there was a ransomware, what we would hear about is the data being encrypted, right? The production data being encrypted, and the customer is being held hostage. That give us X amount of money, and we'll give you the keys. Then it became the attacks became a little more aggressive and innovative. They started targeting backups, right? They started destroying the backups. So overall, it was up leveled, and now it's on the stealing of data and publishing on the web. So criminals started a few years ago encrypting production data. Then they came after backup data, and now they are stealing the mission critical data. The keyword over there is stealing, and they are holding that as a bounty. That data, which is the crown jewel of most enterprises, they are holding is as a bounty and taking them as hostages, right? So when we talk about all of this, we do interact with customers and ask them, right, what is it that you're looking for, right? So let me share over here that with time, as the attacks are getting more and more sophisticated, we asked our customers that how has the threat from ransomware evolved for you? How is it impacting your business, right? So when we asked those questions, then the customers shared that 95% of the customers said that they want ways to detect these threats early on. They don't want to wait to the time where they are held hostage. Out of those, 80% said that cyber threats or ransomware has changed how their infrastructure and operations team collaborate with the InfoSec information security partners. So this has been evolving as well. Now, ransomware detection and prevention is a boardroom discussion now. It's not just a single person's responsibility. 82% said that they have, they either have changed their data management strategy in order to respond quickly, or they're doing so, and more effectively to ransomware and other security threats because they want to respond quickly, and they are already implementing a strategy around that. So yes, a very positive yes. 72% said that they need to develop data management as a part of their organization's defense for an in-depth overall security strategy, right? And it'll be interesting to see how we got here, because if you look at a decade ago or 5 years ago, it was all about RPO and human error, right? And then we started more and more about ransomware attacks and so on. So customers are getting, we've seen a change in trend for customers that they are not comfortable with status quo, and hence they want to change. So Amy, with this, let me ask you this. Yeah, can you tell me some of the ransomware features that are hardwired in the Nutanix platform?
100%. Thanks for asking, Gautam. So Nutanix has a platform. I may have neglected to mention that we've kind of shifted from an infrastructure on-prem play to a hybrid multi-cloud play. So you can run your applications anywhere that you'd like to. And the major benefit is that all of that is managed through a single pane of glass called Prism. And the operating system and Prism linked together have what's called the Nutanix Lifecycle Manager. So one of the biggest pieces for your infrastructure provider to provide is automatic patch management and lifecycle management to make sure that your security posture is always, your patches are always up to date, which enhances your security posture immensely. We also have automatic threat and intrusion detection. So in addition to what we're going to hear from you, Gautam, I'm sure, on the front end, we provide that protection. So based on, user-based access controls and other rules that the administrators put in place, all of these things will be detected before they become a problem. We also have a product called Flow, which is a network segmentation product, which will allow you to lock down certain segments of your network. This is especially important for our data protection customers who would like to, back up that data and lock off that segment of the network so that people don't have access to their backups at all. And most importantly is, I think, on the front end, and we'll get to the back end portion of this, but on the front end, you can secure your data using immutable storage as well, which is also available, I know, through the Cohesity platform, which we'll get to in a moment. But all of those, one addition that I don't want to neglect to mention is all of our nodes are machine hardened with machine hardened STIGs. So security technical implementation guides, all of that is machine hardened on the Nutanix platform. So we really take a security first posture when it comes to protecting our customers' data.
Yeah, great to know. And Nutanix and Cohesity, what excites me about this partnership is that both these companies offer a modern infrastructure and data management solution. And so that leads me to talk about, you mentioned about immutability, you spoke about multi-level authentication and hardwired security. So let me briefly touch upon some of the pillars of innovation that we have. The Cohesity team has been working to address these challenges we've talked about, that our customers have shared, or they've shared a concern, or where they want to be. We have a very broad support in terms of protecting data in our customers' infrastructure. I think you like what you see in the rest of the presentation, especially when I map those comprehensive workloads and what you showed, all kind of workloads, be it on VMware was it right? VMware on Nutanix, or AOS or AHV, whatever you have, we can support them, right? Performance and ease of use has been a strength of the Cohesity product. However, we have doubled down to take these to the next level. And finally, we've expanded the options you have to quickly, let's say you have to quickly recover from ransomware or other disasters, we have expanded the options that are available over there. And that's where we bring in data resiliency.
That's great.
So,
yeah, I think our joint, sorry to interrupt you, Gautam, but our joint customers are really looking for a modern solution. That's where Nutanix gained speed in the marketplace and gained our foothold is, people were tired of doing things the same old way. So I so appreciate your partnership in creating a modern, hyper-converged based data protection solution for our joint customers. And if you want to expound on that at all a little bit, now's the time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think our companies share some level of DNA, and that's where our architectural advantages come in. Because we have a robust multi-cloud platform, which, as you mentioned, that they're non-disruptive upgrades. You can just add nodes, and it's highly available, expandable, and it gives efficiencies truly at a global scale. When we talk about expanding the platform, or we talk about deduplication, or we talk about compression, everything is available at a scale. And some of the architectural advantages that helps us even identify the problems is the ability that we can do very quick lookups. We have search, we have needle in a haystack search, which can provide you information about your data that's protected anywhere, right? Be it across VMs or N365 or emails or anything else. And one of the things that really makes a difference over here is how fast can you access the data. I mean, in case of any disaster, in case of a need where you want to really recover the data, faster access is everything. So there's instant mass restore. We have, instantly file sharing or recovering files and so on. And all of these, when bundled together as a solution, and I still remember we were talking about earlier when you were showing the picture of so many components on the left and then Nutanix simplified as one box on the right? So overall, we have lower TCO, and that's what our customers are looking for. But I'll just leave this on the thread on the last note that you mentioned, that we need to be security first. So we have cybersecurity as a first-class citizen. We have be it quorums, be it multi-factor authentication, be it advanced recovery and vulnerability scans. Everything is built into the platform, and that provides a great architectural advantages for our platform.
Yeah, I agree. I think we're running in tandem on those points. This defense and depth strategy is just getting better and better.
Absolutely, and the two solutions together, the Nutanix and Cohesity's partnership together, helps our customer modernize their infrastructure, right? So it would be, it would be an injustice if I don't talk about the comprehensive coverage, because I was fascinated when you were showing me your slides earlier. I was fascinated by so many, workloads that are there that Nutanix supports. So this slide truly speaks for itself. With our comprehensive workload support, you can now consolidate your backups on a single platform and significantly reduce your cost of ownership. Yeah, we cover the most popular, let's say, virtualization platforms and containers, and we also integrate with storage arrays to leverage storage snapshot, let's say, for VM backups. Now, Amy, let me ask you this. I've been talking about some hypervisors. So tell me something. How does AHV compares to other industry standard hypervisors?
Yeah, thanks, Gautam. That's a great question. So AHV is a KVM-based hypervisor. So if you think about when you put your workloads in the cloud, are you aware of what the hypervisor is running in the background? Probably not. As long as it works, as long as it virtualizes, as long as it's simple to use, you can allocate, storage and memory resources as necessary. I don't think many of our customers are really concerned. Our hypervisor is secure. It's really easy to spin up a new VM. I've done it, so I can tell you that anybody can do it. It's based on, it's based on a cloud-ready architecture. So as I mentioned earlier, our founders came from some of the big hyperscalers out in Silicon Valley, and they wanted to make sure that when you virtualized with AHV, Acropolis Hypervisor, which is our proprietary hypervisor, they wanted to make sure that that virtualized workload was ready and packaged to go to the cloud. And that's exactly what they did. That's what they set out to do, and that's what they've done. So it's an enterprise ready, has all the standard security features, all the standard hypervisor features that anybody, would ever want to use. We have customers in basically every sector of the Fortune 1000 use Nutanix, and about 50% of our customers today are using AHV over another hypervisor. So it just goes to show you how well adopted it is in the industry today.
That's great, and thanks for sharing. And that's no wonder why I keep coming across customers who want to use more and more of AHV. Right. So one thing that you mentioned over there, our founders coming from hyperscale cloud companies, and so cloud is also built into the DNA of both our organizations, I believe. For Cohesity, we support all major cloud platforms, be it from a consumption point of view or from data protection. Let's say popular SaaS applications such as M365 and others. So yeah, that's great, and I think I'm. As I get up, I get excited for this partnership more and more. So let me talk about, likewise. So let me talk about this partnership, right? So about Nutanix Integrations. So Cohesity, as you know, but for our audience, Cohesity is a Nutanix ready certified solution. Jointly, we provide highly scalable solutions for our customers. I mean, customers who are here on this webinar and all over the globe, and be part of their IT, modernization journey. So we want to be with our customers on their modernization journey by providing best-in-class hyperscale, multi-cloud, secure environments and platforms. So from here, when we talk about partnership, let me quickly talk about a quick architecture diagram where we have Cohesity as a platform, or Helios, and then we have capability of talking to the AHV environments and protect the VMs. And then once they are on a platform, they can be replicated, they can be archived, there are all operations. Cohesity has a policy-driven architecture. Same applies for Nutanix workloads as well. So we'll back up and recover AHV VMs. We have integration with Nutanix guest tools, and we also support ESXi on AOS. Now,
that was my next question. I was just going to mention that.
Hold on to that.
Hold back. I'm trying not to interrupt you. So I was just going to mention a really important point is that I mentioned about 50% of our customers have adopted our hypervisor, but another 50%, give or take some, there's still some Hyper-V thrown in there a little bit too. But, the majority of the other half are virtualized using VMware, which, we do still support. Can you talk a little bit about how you support both ESX and AHV when it comes to protecting Nutanix workloads?
Absolutely, with pleasure. So in Cohesity, we do protect VMware and AHV both. So for this unique configuration where, let's say VMware is running on Nutanix, we have a native integration. We can even leverage, the storage integration, the storage snapshots, and we can understand where a particular VM coming from VMware is on AOS, for example. So we'll understand the infrastructure. We have intelligence built in to identify that this is a VMware VM, which we have discovered, which is running on top of, let's say, AOS. And there are under the hood optimizations to leverage the benefits that is offered, let's say, from Nutanix as a platform for efficient backup, right? And also recovery. So yes, we do have that, and not, as far as I know, not many backup vendors support this. So we're happy to be partner over here again and provide this to our customers.
Perfect.
Now,
Thank you.
thanks for asking this, and I think it was worth expanding on. So one of the things that is part of this partnership, and what we are very diligent about, is that we support our customers on latest versions and interoperability, so that the latest versions for iOS, for example, is 6.5, and we already support that. So it's great partnership. It's officially certified. Folks on this webinar, they see our partnership. We work together, and happy to be here. Now, let's talk about how Cohesity can help overall with the ransomware various phases, because we said that yes, if an attack happens, then what do we do? Now, the most important thing is that by understanding the sensitive data landscape and watching the access, you need to investigate. So while you're watching it, it helps you understand the usual activity. And somebody who's there in the data center as an admin or as a CISO or somebody else in the security team, whenever there's an unusual activity, you need to investigate using controls that are developed and deployed in your environment. So here, if you look at it, if you talk about ransomware 1.0, 2.0, and 3.0, from a Cohesity perspective, we understand that many organizations have a lot of controls to provide extra security, right, and protection for nasty ransomware attacks. But these attacks are not going away because there's enough success with cyber criminals and gangs who continue to evolve their tactics. Now, we have Data Protect, which is the first green thing that you see. It's about data protection. We offer immutable backups. We have warm capability. We even have data lock with data protection, instant mass restore, anomaly detection, and so on. But when we look at ransomware 2.0, all of this combines together with our vaulted solution, right, which is cyber vaulting or Fort Knox, where you have a copy of your data elsewhere, and that's data logged. What that means is that you define the duration for which it is immutable. And then comes the third pillar, which is the ransomware 3.0. It's all about data governance. So by adding data governance with data protect, Fort Knox and data govern all together, your organization will be ready for these ransomware attacks. Now, some of the questions that I get is that, yes, it is real. The threat's real, right? We are preparing ourselves. So what can we do better, right? So our customers are saying, what should we do? So here are some of the kind of best practices that we've laid out over here. And they, in order to prepare your organization, you'll need to break the functional silos. So you need to protect the data. You need to have inventory for the data and the assets that you have. You need to turn on data log and maintain multiple copies and so on, right? Now, with that, you also need to, it's important to secure your environment, because multi-level authentication really helps you add that additional layer. And then you should have different privilege and credentials across systems. You'll be surprised, one of the most common thing, even in large organizations, when I was talking to a customer and I was sitting with him, I said, can you please show me how do you do it? Or how do you use a product? And I was surprised that he said he was pasting password from a notepad. And he was saying, yeah, this is the password that works across my organization. Now, that's something that we all should definitely avoid. Right? And again, as the attackers are getting innovative and they are getting educated and getting up to speed, it is companies like ours, we are also constantly working in breaking their attacks and providing defense. So it is very important that our customers are up to date with their platforms and their upgrades and so on. Right? And a couple of more points or thoughts I'll share is that, it's very important to know your crown jewels, because end of the day, the data is what makes the organization makes decision. And data is these days, one of the most crucial pieces of what we have in our organization, right? That helps run the engine. So knowing them, having the right kind of policies and protecting and those many copies, and trying to observe patterns and some things, if there are people who are accessing it which should not be accessing it, that's one of the biggest red alert. And then the most important thing is preparing your organization. So very often when I talk to customers, I say it is not the backup that you should be interested in. It is about how you recover the data if you need to, right? Because a lot of time the conversations are, can you support, incremental forever, or backup daily, or backup 3 times a day, or backup once in a month? I said, yes, of course we can. But the most important question over here could be that in case of an event where you need to recover, how fast do you need that data? Because that defines how you need to protect. And all these levers are provided, right? So it's all about collaboration and training. You can only train people once you know where they stand in order to make sure everyone in your organization understands the risk. So education is the key over here, and not going beyond, but maybe testing the knowledge sometimes also helps with continuous training. And these can be knowledge assessments or skills assessment, and these need to be clearly defined, and for people who are leveraging the data. So that's what I thought I'll share with you, Amy. And do you have any questions? Or Scott, I'm happy to take any questions, if any, which are there on the chat.
Okay, yeah, excellent. We do have some questions that have come in. This has been a great conversation so far, and let's bring in some audience questions to keep going here. This first question comes from Jorge, who's asking, do we know if statistically the work from home hybrid work model has caused increased cyber risk, or haven't you seen much of a correlation? What are you guys seeing out there?
I can.
Gautam, you want to take that?
Yeah, absolutely. And we've seen that there has been, at least in the last few years, the number of attacks have doubled, right? If not exponentially. I mean, they've definitely increased, because as I mentioned, that some of the things that also expose the data is the personal devices. And that's where we see, your personal devices in wrong hands can lead to a breach, right? And definitely we've seen an increased trend in phishing and spamming. So that definitely contributes.
I was going to mention the same. I know we are increasing our social engineering education here at Nutanix to make sure that workers who typically would have been in a cubicle environment are aware that yes, you still can receive phishing emails from, even though you're working from home. So I certainly haven't seen a decrease in attacks since the remote age has begun.
Okay. Another sort of general question before we've got a couple of questions about the partnership specifically, but Warren's wondering, Warren says, are network run majority Mac clients seen less incidents on, have you seen less incidents on Mac platforms compared to Windows?
Again, Amy, I'll probably take a start at this. Cohesity provides data protection solution, as you saw in the comprehensive workloads. They are primarily in the data centers. We do not provide endpoint protection, so I would not be able to comment on that. Any experiences, Amy?
The same answer would apply for Nutanix. It's a data center infrastructure or hybrid multi-cloud platform. Endpoint protection would be another subject. And historically, we haven't really done a ton with Apple servers and things like that, Mac server OS. Yeah. So question for another day.
Another question here from Joseph. So Joseph is asking, does Nutanix and Cohesity, do you have detection capabilities to protect immutable and virtual air-gapped backups. So you guys got into that a little bit, but anything else that you want to say about some of those capabilities?
Yeah, that's for Gautam too. So Nutanix does have an objects platform that we do have the capability to write to, but as it relates to data protection with Cohesity, that would be on their proprietary platform at the moment. So Gautam, I'll hand that one off to you as well.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, so for us, when we take a backup of any workload, right, from our policy-driven architecture, so the moment it's backup, it's on an immutable snapshot, and we have even for incrementals, we have a fully hydrated snapshot available on our platform, which is immutable. Now, as another layer of security, we have the capability, something called as data lock. And this capability essentially allows you to define the duration for which the data cannot be deleted or the snapshots cannot be deleted. Now, if somebody has enabled data lock, even Cohesity cannot go and clear that data or delete that data. So we have built-in capabilities for immutability, and we have functionalities such as legal hold, because many a times what's happened is we've come across scenarios from customers where certain data, when they know that was needed by certain auditors, some bad actors in the organization actually went ahead and just removed it because it wasn't data logged. But we have capabilities of legal hold that once you know something is of interest, of particular interest, and you need to extend it even beyond the required retention, you can apply data locks over there. Legal hold over there. And then there was another point, or second part of the question, Scott, if I got that right, was around air gap solution. So Cohesity has a cyber vaulting solutions, which is integrated with our data protect, and the workload that's on Cohesity platform, we are qualifying and we are certifying more and more platforms for these capabilities for cyber vaulting. But it is possible to cyber vault the backups which are on the Cohesity platform to, in an air-logged space that cannot be accessed and needs multi-level of approval even to access it, level or deletion. Thanks for asking that great question.
Sure. Yeah. So I think that's about all of the questions today. So, I guess the last one I'd just like to ask is, if people have heard things that are interesting for them as far as, their ransomware defense, and they'd like to learn more about, the Nutanix and Cohesity partnership, or about ransomware protection from you guys, what's a good next step for them?
Yeah, I'll start. So a great way to get in touch with your Nutanix and Cohesity team is either to reach out to myself or to Gautam. I doubt Gautam wants to be the first line of defense, so I'll throw my email out there. It's just amy.hansen, HANSEN @Nutanix.com. I would be happy to loop in both your Cohesity and Nutanix account managers. I'll save Gautam's email inbox here. But yeah, I'd love to get you guys hooked up with that. I know we both have the equivalent of a test drive product. So Nutanix.com/test drive is a great way to test our platform. And by doing that, it automatically puts you in touch with your account team. Gautam, I'm sure you have something similar on the Cohesity side as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We have our team, and once it reaches your inbox, you can then triage, and then you can forward it to me so that we can ensure that the right set of folks on our alliance team and the accounts team reach back.
100%. And I'll put that email in the chat too, so everybody can reference it easily.
All right, that sounds great. Well, Gautam and Amy, thank you so much. This has been a really informative discussion, and a lot of interesting stuff there on the roadmap. Looking forward to hearing more about that and the releases, and just appreciate everything today. And thanks everybody for the questions and for this Q&A session. Really appreciate it.
Awesome. Good luck to everybody on that Amazon gift card.
Yeah, thanks. Good transition. So we'll get to that. But Amy, got him. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
And as Amy mentioned, we do have the Amazon gift card prize drawing. So the winner of that gift card today is Jerry Benzie from Pennsylvania. Jerry Benzie. So congratulations. We'll be in touch to get you your card. And with that, on behalf of the Actual Tech Media team, I want to thank Cohesity and Nutanix for making this event possible. And thanks as always for attending and for your great questions. That concludes today's event. Have a fantastic rest of your day.